Good morning. Good morning. Namaskar. Good morning, everybody. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, 27th July 27th, 2021, Tuesday, and same general top professional talks on quality and SHE or safety, health and environment, while topic being civil field engineering and engineering, you can say civil field engineering, quality AnnexSL, COVID-19, SHE engineer's role, designs, construction, method, contracts, organizations, communications, coordinations, why we behind quality all time. Very burning question for everybody, though people are not asking, but I am asking them to ask this question, because certificate like this we have or we don't have, certificate like this some have, some don't have, and of course there's other certificates and many more certificates. Certificates for what? Certificates means quality. Certificates means competency. Certificate means performance. Certificate means capability. Certificate means consistency. Certificate means achievement. Certificate means award. Certificate means evidence. Certificate means that it is, and many more meanings that can be equated to certificate. It's not just a piece of paper or plastic. It is something that is notified to whole world. What is certificate? Can you think of? It's not a certificate that is personalized. No. This certificate, it may be educational certificate, it may be experience certificate, it may be competency certificate, it may be whatever class of certificate. Certificate is issued to public. It's not issued to person. Try to understand this. Whatever certificates we have, that is issued to whom? That is issued to people. This means it is public notification. You shall not find on any certificate that it is addressed to certified person. Never. This means it is notified to people of this world, not even to one country, whole world. Just like it's written to whomsoever it may be concerned. We write generally on experience certificates, though it's not necessary, but we write. Same way, educational certificate never addressed to person, but open it is. These certificates are open charters for a person. These certificates are actually charter, or you can say public documents issued by public authorities or those who are authorized for that person. It may be government bodies or it may be others. All statutory bodies, all certificates, pertinent education and competencies are issued either by government or by state or by third party or agency, whatsoever it is, wherever system is. I am explaining about this because very few people know what is meaning of certificate. It's not a piece of paper It is a record somewhere. It's just a publication. Record file is somewhere else that lies in office of that person who issued this, or that office who issued this. This means we have to respect. Who has to respect means people respect. People respect the certificates like this certificate or other certificates. I'm keeping this open as its explanation just for identification purpose. Now my question is, why should we care for certificate? If somebody is a medical professional, that person is MBBS or more, that certificate tells. If somebody is an engineer, who tells us? That certificate tells us. This means certificate is not a piece of paper, but it's a recorded file in that office which issued this certificate. That office clearly declares that person in whose favor this certificate is issued is having this level of competency. We know that it's written on certificate. Now, certificate has got relation to whole public, all public. This means public knows someone through certificate and not otherwise. This means this certificate becomes a tool of creating trust between public and that person who holds this certificate in whatever field of works, field of profession. This certificate is a connection between two parties, whole world, public and that person. It's formulated statement. It can be very close, but it's not closed due to this fact that this is an open notification. Now, why should we worry about this? Every organization whatsoever now, in private as well as in government or other sectors throughout world, has been generally certified under quality system, that this organization is awarded ISO 9001 or other certification agencies documents in this production or in this engineering field or in this marketing field, whatever field is there, this certificate is given. And that organization may be ISO, that's International Standardization Organization, or some other like Sigma or like whatsoever. There are so many agencies worldwide. Generally ISO 9000 is very, very famous, very, very, you can say, autonomous, independent, famous for quality standardizations, not for quality certification. Let me be clear. This organization ISO 9000, ISO, you can say, is not quality certifying organization. It is quality authorizing organization. I mean to say, they authorize third parties who are not dependent on ISO. Those parties are authorized or empowered to register such companies, such bodies who seek their registration under ISO system by these agencies. And these agencies are responsible to observe their performance according to ISO procedures for a couple of years, and then they are granted these certificates, and these certificates are again updated frequently based on a couple of years and reissued, or whatever observations are made. This means these certificates which we give, ISO certificate or quality certificates, these are based on performance and based on capability, based on random checking of record, random inspection of records. And these are not forced by ISO, but ISO just defines procedures, just defines certain requirements, certain qualifying requirements. When you get this requirement, you qualify this requirement, that third party agency, after long observation, after conducting long observation, can issue these certificates, and frequently these certificates are reviewed, re-audited, and system is granted another certificate. This means system is certified. System of quality, whatever organization maintains, practices, that is certified. Not person. It is assumed, it is understood that whole organization, when work properly under requirements of this system, these standards like ISO 9001-2015 or previously ISO 9001-2008, you will find such certificates, references written on, such references or authorizing references written on generally all product information or their company's information. ISO 9001-2015 like this. Though that is wrong, but no problem. Let us say just for information it is. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to make any difference. It's just informative that this organization is ISO 9001-2015 certified, though it's not that. It is certified by that agency that is authorized by ISO 9001. That is meaning of that. Though even every institution, biggest or smallest, or government or private, all use this certification seal or logo, but no problem, that's not a big deal. The question is, where do we stand? To an extent, quality standards are concerned. Purpose of quality is for giving quality. Purpose of quality is not telling quality. Means an organization, whatsoever it is, if it is service organization or it is production organization or it is whatever else, consultancy organization, whatever group it may be, purpose of investigation, purpose of procedure maintenance, purpose of certifying, purpose of whatever you can say, is to support people so that people can get quality product or quality services or quality goods. That is sole purpose. And that purpose means it should be uniform around world. This system doesn't apply to one country. It applies to whole world. Europe, America, Asia, Africa, whatsoever. It applies to whole world. And when this system applies to whole world, this means we should find same system everywhere. Of course, that system is defined under certain requirements of ISO, but practice is what to practice, how to practice, what to do is defined by certificate holder of that organization. How shall they perform? How shall they work? What's the structure of their organization? What's the structure of various departments in that organization? How shall they work? How shall they design? How shall they produce? How shall they market and how shall they sell? And how shall they review and how shall they, whatever. That is defined by organization under principles of ISO that are defined in ISO structures. Without follow-up of that or without compliance of that, no auditor, third-party agency can issue any certificate. Authority to issue certificate lies with those third-party auditors, while principle lies with ISO, what standard should be, and that company or organization who is certified, it's duty of that company to follow their own approved system and to deliver quality goods as well as quality service. That is whole concept. That is whole concept. But how is that concept? How is that concept? How does that concept work? Is itself a concept? How long? How long can you befool people of this world? That's another point. When this system started, there was quality functioning. You cannot say quality was not available. I am a product of that time when there was no ISO, and quality existed very well, not only in our country but also in other countries. When this system came, when I attended certain seminars, certain lectures, I did not find anything that was not done before the system came into being. I raised question to that that lecturer or that person who was participating with that seminar about ISO 9000. I asked him, what you are telling, what you have explained about this, what we have to do, what we should do, or what we must do. It's all done. It's all done, nothing new with that. Then that participant answered me, yes, it's done. We are just giving a title. We are just giving a tag to this system. And that's ISO 9000 or ISO 1. There's so many standards in ISO. ISO 9000 is about this work quality system, or we call it total quality system or total quality management. It's actually total quality management system. TQMS, total quality management system. What is this? Do you know what is this? Or we just got certain certificates and be happy with that? I don't want to be happy by having certificates because I have mind to think. I don't believe in certificates if certificates are useless. If certificates tell something, it achieves something, it supports me, okay, fine, I agree with that. So what does it mean if I have total quality management system certification? This means that I am having that competency by practice that makes me consistent enough to deliver, or before delivery, to design and produce or to manufacture that quality product and deliver that to customer or consumer or end user. And end user should not be upset with performance of that product or good or service. That product must be useful at least to that extent for which it was manufactured or it was intended to be used. That was an exclusive, and that is an exclusive purpose of this system. If that does not do, if this system, this product doesn't satisfy customer, doesn't give customer what customer expects or what is intended through that system, in that case I can say this system fails. Total quality management system fails if that aim is not achieved, that objective of quality product is not achieved. I agree, I know that ISO is no guarantee. ISO does not guarantee quality of any product. I understand that. I'm not defying that. It's not responsibility of ISO that your product should be quality wise reliable, but system should be reliable. System which you follow or your organization follow or whatever else in this world that body follows. Many governments, even more government departments have got this certificate award. Many institutions have got this certificate award. But what's purpose? I don't find any difference when somebody has certificate or somebody has no such certificate. Because what is objective? Objective should be and is that end user or customer or consumer must get quality product. If not total quality product, at least they find quality product, or whatever is claimed by that manufacturer that this product comes within this range, that should work. But does it happen? This is a question everyone has to raise. And I'm not telling about one country. Generally, currently, I'm in my country. My country has been suffering. My country means India, Bharat, that has been suffering from quality issues and openly suffering, while there is no one to question. No one to question. Unfortunately, we have crores engineers in this country, crores of all branches. In Bharat India has been a very fortunate nation to have abundance of engineers, diploma, degree, postgraduate, professionals, chartered. This is, I think, a country in a whole world that is very rich in its professional magnitude. But where is direction? Because magnitude can never be without direction. It's not quantity. I'm not telling quantity. I'm not defining our engineers are quantity. Our engineers are very capable, having great potential. They know a lot of research is done, lot of practice is conducted, and lot of designs are done. I cannot challenge capabilities of our professionals if they are really educated and experienced. We are a rich nation as far as our wealth of professionals are concerned. It may be engineering professionals, medical professionals, or other non-technical field professionals, all in all branches of professions, all disciplines. That is our potential. But what does it mean? Everybody claims, everybody complains, I got this product, I purchased this product, but it's not performing to my expectation or to what manufacturer claims. And then they keep shut when warranty issue comes in. Okay, you have a warranty or guarantee, you complain and get it repaired. This means there is this dose of medicine they give in name of warranty. But we forget that warranty is not free. It's chargeable. If it's not charged during warranty period, it is charged during purchase period. It's a kind of service. It's not free. So this is no warranty actually. I can say this is a kind of cheating. Every manufacturer cheats. I expect every product has certain defined or expected working life. Let us say 5 years. If it is 5 years, it should work for 5 years without any problem. If life of that product is for 5 years, it should work for 5 years. Why should I call them every 6 months or week? Please come. This product is not working. This machine is not working. This means there is no meaning of warranty period. They design it such a manner economically that only in that warranty period it should perform. But unfortunately, even in that warranty period, we have to call them. This means these manufacturers cannot even keep up their words, their technical promises, even for 1 year or 2 year warranty period. How can then we rely that this good or product shall work for 5 years or 10 years? This is automatic question which every person has to think of. Yes, you may not care because the product is not very expensive. You say, okay, throw it and buy another one. It's easy answer, throw it. throw away. You should not forget, products are included, are manufactured, and there are many parts in every product. There's a plastic parts, and that plastic creates pollution. So you are adding to pollution, you are adding something wrong, something negative to existing pollution to augment quantity of pollution. Why should I do that? When I spend my hard-earned money to buy a product, why should be I obliged, or why should be I giving blessing giver to this manufacturer? Manufacturer has earned money from my expenditure as a consumer, as a customer. I pay money, and maybe manufacturer earns 10% at least, if not more, maybe more, but let us say 10%. And that 10%, his created profit, has destroyed my 90%. That does 10% of profit that's made by manufacturer has impacted my 90% money, because this product doesn't work. It may work 20%, it may work 50%, it may work 60%. Means whatever percent is smoothly and efficiently it works, at least other part of that 90% doesn't work. This means directly or indirectly I am at loss, and indirectly that manufacturer or that factory owner or industrialist is at profit without caring for product. This means product has been made a tool, it has been made a medium to rob customer. And because customer is helpless, customer just can do nothing after purchase, because that good cannot be refunded, that good cannot be taken back, cannot be replaced due to warranty. Every time they send some technician to repair it, and they go. Only objective of that manufacturer is to pass time during warranty period, and they successfully do that. They very well know which part works for how many months, which part works for more than warranty period. It's known well to designer and to production people, and they play games, means only their liability lies within that guarantee period or extended guarantee period, and after that you have to pay money for service through AMC or otherwise, however you pay. This means first you have to give them money for buying, for purchasing, in which they make profit. Then you have to pay to them for AMC, which is amount is fixed by themselves only without any analysis. They never give you any analysis why this AMC is charged this much. And during that AMC also there are so many conditions. If this happens, we will not fix. If this part is broken, or some accident happens, or this happens, or that happens, or plastic parts are not replaceable, or this part is not replaceable, you have to pay more for this. There are so many terms and conditions even that AMC. Only problem is that there is no alternative to that. Every manufacturer acts that way. Means there is a unity among manufacturers, like unity among workers it is in every company, that these people have a union to exploit customers around the world. And I'm talking of my country. They have unity in exploiting every consumer. And why should consumer be exploited? Because consumer is alone. Consumer cannot do anything. Who wants to go to consumer forum for small item, and who has time for that? I still remember one time, maybe I never told you before. I think it was I am sure about 1992 or 1, I exactly don't remember. I bought, ballpoint pen, or you can say Luxor. This pen, we call it Luxor production. Luxor it was. I bought one pen, I bought one pen. I think it was rupees 30 at that time. I bought it. It is very good pen actually. To my consideration, it was. I I came home and started using this. It worked for a few minutes, then stopped. I was very upset. I paid rupees 30 and it's not functioning. I went to that shopkeeper, asked him this happened, it's not working. He said, go to, I can't do anything, you go right or go to that factory. I told him, okay, give me receipt. Yes, I will give you receipt. He gave me receipt. What I should do now, I don't know. What should I have done? Means I had to go to that factory for what? I thought, this is nonsense. I paid money and this is not working. This product is not working. Why should I go to that factory? And their communication was not that good. No mails, nothing, no computers in those days. I mean, computer was there, but not with me. So I thought, why should I waste time for this bloody hell? I just made an application, went to consumer forum and filed a complaint. Well, I did not know it would take that much time. It took 6 months for decision. 6 months to 1 year, I'm sure. I went, I filed, they called, they notified these vendors, shopkeeper and manufacturers. They, they notified, and I too was present there. I was present there. Then what to do with that means I was present there, and what I can say that consumer forum judge asked me, give me that pen. I showed to him. At that time it started working something. He says, it's working. I told him, no, it's not working. It's been for so many months. Well, he accepted my plea and he asked that vendor to give him another pen. He ordered. It was not question of replacement or question of not working. Question means, first, it was not a quality item. This pen did not work qualitatively, and then also this was not treated. I was not treated good way by shopkeeper and by that organization, manufacturing organization. But I wanted to struggle for that. Why should I waste my money for something, rubbish? My money is for rubbish means you don't want to produce. You see you are spending money. I don't see you are not spending money as manufacturer. You are spending money. You purchase material. You have human resources and maybe you have equipment if required. You spend money, maybe 70% you spend of your cost. Why don't you care about quality? Why don't you keep in mind that somebody would buy it? Somebody shall buy it based on your namesake, based on your reputation. People generally are inclined to buy goods from very national or international reputed manufacturers. It happens all over the world. Without even, because we understand it is treated or it's trusted that this reputed or branded organizations would give quality product, because it was experience in those days. It was experience in those days that product was quality one. But did it continue like that? That's the point. No, it did not continue. It broke at one point. It broke at one point sometime, and there was lapse in quality. There was very much lapse in quality, and that lapse in quality gave birth, or you can say this led to generation of quality system, and it was called quality assurance, which was later on redesignated as quality requirement recently, but in both I can say it may be ISO 9000 and 2008, or it may be ISO 9000 and 2015. In both cases, quality is not being delivered by, in general, all organizations, topmost to bottommost. You can buy whatever product in market. You may be lucky, you may be fortunate if you get quality. In that case, I can say, okay, fine. In 5% cases, it could be. But otherwise, in majority of cases, in majority of products, you will not find required delivery of quality. You will find product. You will find very, very good package when it is delivered to you, or you buy from shop. Package is there for safety of product, that's appreciable. Or when it is delivered to your home, they say we are delivering free, okay, and they think that this is an initiative of, you can say, what you call it, incentive to customer to come to our product to buy because we make home delivery free. They only make home delivery free, but if product doesn't work, they don't take back home delivery from home to shop delivery free. That is a harmful point consumer face. If you buy online, you have little option to return it, because to whom to return? Point is that. But if you buy from shop, you can go and throw it on the face of that shopkeeper or that vendor, take it back, and you can fight with that. But if you buy online, you cannot fight with online system. You have to write to them, and they will act like they are kings, because I got that experience. If you have lost money, if you don't have good product, and you abuse them in writing, which is your right, you fire them in writing, which is your right, because you are losing money, you are losing time, you are not given good hearing, you are not given replacement immediately, and they argue for nothing. Go to our this center, go to our that center. Neither vendor who packed to you this product answers, not that organization, international or national, that is involved, basically responds to you properly. In that case, what option do you have? My option is, if I have that person who is manufacturer before me, I would kick that person. He may be whatever, because that person has cheated me. Why does that product not work when it is quality system organized product? One Sigma says only 3 in millions can be defective. But here, if you buy 2 or 3 and 2 are defective, if you buy 2, 1 is defective, means half is defective. 50% is defective. Why should we accept that situation? That is most important point. I want to spend time on quality talk because of that reason, because I think its fault should be considered fault of engineers, that engineers must realize quality facts. In particular, civil engineers have to change quality aspect of society, or else quality cannot exist. But I know civil engineers or other engineers, they are not masters of business, and manufacturers never listen to engineers. They listen to management professionals, and they listen to only those professionals who are just interested in commerce. नहीं, लाइट अभी गई है 5-10 मिनट पहले, 5-10 मिनट पहले गई है। our problem, no light. So these people do not listen to engineers because engineers talk of technology, engineers talk of quality, and maybe engineers are fed up with these manufacturers or industrialists, but because they have also to survive, because they are paid, they are salaried, they are not fee based, they are not freelancers, they survive for sake of survival. So I cannot pass this responsibility to them exclusively. Yes, if management commands, no, you have to give quality. Well, they have plenty of freedom to manufacture, to produce quality goods. That's my answer. I cannot blame engineers because they are not going to make any share out of organizational profit. It's blame on manufacturers and its non-engineering managers or organizers. They may be qualified MBAs or they may be other professionals. I don't believe that any engineer would like to give bad quality product. This is my understanding. This understanding may be wrong. I cannot say what I am saying is right. This understanding could be wrong, but this is principal understanding. So I can say engineers must realize quality facts, and in particular, civil engineers have to change quality aspect of society, or else quality cannot exist. Systems quality to be devised and achieved, and must broken system means broken life linked to broken system. Professionals individual quality to be amended, and one must be forced to amend its quality for reliability by additional teaching and by additional knowledge dissemination. I can say relevant element relevant element of product defined quality to be achieved, individuals required attitude quality to be streamlined, individuals dedication to be applied on actions, work commitment to be made and fulfilled for delivery, all other parameters to deal with per requirements. That is main point, we can say. Designs of structures and goods must be decisive, safe, qualitative, and must be reliable for prosecution. All stages of designs being significant, all stages in designs being significant, but merely design does not suffice requirement. If construction development are not affected to specified marks, required or defined quality cannot be allowed to be ignored. It has to be achieved, but how? Design drawings must have quality input and duly coordinated to produce working details, keeping abreast working conditions. For site cannot be relied upon automatically, but provide clear notes, specify properly and explicitly. All activities must be taken care of, but it doesn't happen. Reasons being lethargy in attitude and undue strains in minds. Why should site work suffer because of deficiencies in designs? Design accountability must be fixed if accountability on constructed product element is required. Design and construction qualities are complementary to each other, and without integrated coordination, activities worked upon shall result in qualityless results. I am very serious, I am just advising. I am very serious. I am not interested in one area. I am interested in all areas. All areas. Like cost, time, cost are very important, but time and cost are related to quality. That is also important. Time is important because you cannot waste time. You got my point? You can't waste time. Time wastage means everything goes out of control. If you lose time, you lose every control. Then cost. Cost is linked to time. Certainly. If you delay project, if you delay production, you shall not be able to deliver that one in time. And then cost impact comes in because your delay means your delay of operation, your delay of sales, and delay in recoveries of your money, which means you have to depend on bank, and bank shall not give any benefit and charge more interest. This means time is very important factor, cost is very important factor. Delay means additional cost, delay of time means additional cost, and delivery in time means reliable work. But both time and cost, if cost is controlled there, not to go beyond certain point, according to commercial requirement, according to budgetary requirement, which is also a part of professional competency, you can't allow enhancement, you can't allow escalation on budget, which means you have to curtail quality degree. There's no other way. If you want to save something, you have to provide. Then maybe you don't test product fully, or your product contains some parts which are less expensive but defective in future. That becomes so somewhere you impact on quality of that product, that good. This means that's 3 points which should be stronger. If you say on triangle, time, cost, and quality, we have to consider on a triangle basis. Though it's not complete, but these three factors which are minimum, considerable. More factors can be added, but let us depend on these only three, because these are contractual factors. These are agreement factors. The time is fixed, cost is fixed, and specifications or quality is fixed. You cannot change them once you have agreed. If that happens, if that is the case, and you are interested not to spend more money on these items, time is out of control, gone beyond control, and you have to spend more. Means you spend more on time, means more money, you have to pay salary to your resources, to your human resources, and if you have machine, cost of that machine goes up. And also means time and cost, means losing time means losing cost. And then if you want to maintain quality at same level, cost is considered. If you have to maintain cost factor, you have to reduce quality, you have to drop quality. Or if you have to maintain quality factor, you have to drop your profit. No manufacturer is interested to drop profit. That's also true, because money is money. No manufacturer shall like to lose money. So what is to be lost? Of course, you can't gain time, you can't lose your money. So what you do, you preferably loosen your you can say quality, and you promise consumer guarantee or warranty. This means guarantee or warranty is a fraud. It's a systematic fraud in name of legal term. Oh, we warranty this, and consumer becomes happy that it is warranted item. Consumer becomes happy that this is warranted item, right? And consumer enjoys that state that at least for warranty period I have not to spend more money on this. But what is value of that warranty if it is not committed, or it's done as if a manufacturer does some obligation on consumer? Well, I'm defining in a fractured way because of my experience. It's not that this real definition of warranty, it's a fractured definition because there is no commitment. It happens. You are given harassment during that period. If you tell them this happened, first of all, they don't welcome you, really, and they expect to keep silent. Meaning is that means they should take care of that product, but because even if you go to that shopkeeper from whom you bought, forget online, that shopkeeper shall give you a receipt probably and say, okay, you wait for so many days and come back again, or will inform you. Means you have to go to him, go to that shop, you have to spend time, you have to spend cost, go to that one, deposit that material there, that go there. Maybe he gives you a receipt, or if you have some relations with them, trust relations, you say, okay, come after 1 week, or come after 10 days, or he will inform you. Means your use of that material has gone for that period. First of all, either you buy another material or you have some substitute. Then after some time, maybe that shopkeeper would tell you that company does not exist, or that company is not responding. So they will try to keep you off from that track. And once you say, oh my God, I'm wasting so much time, I've taken so many rounds of this shop, 3 or 4 rounds, and I didn't find anything, and I spent car money, I spent time, what's the use of this? And they may, okay, ignore it and buy another one. Is this quality system? My point of view is that maybe this did not happen with you, but it can happen with anybody. There is no reliability in such considerations. Means reliability factor is minus. Reliability I define with great enthusiasm. And in engineering, in engineering, reliability is very important factor. Not even considered, it is as accepted. We don't say it's considered, it's accepted. Reliability means, quality means reliability. If I say this is quality of this product, and we practice it, we do it, and it means, when I say quality product, means this is business. I mean it. I mean it that I give you quality product. This means that whatever I have defined for quality, I'm not saying all quality. I'm saying whatever I write, or whatever I promise, whatever I specify for this product, because I have to specify what I'm giving you. I'm not saying it contains whole world's requirement. I'm saying this is confinement. This is specification. Specification is never open, remember. If I don't give specification and simply say it is quality, in that case you can consider that this is open. But here I am saying this is specification, I cannot go below this and I cannot go above this. Means below certain line and above certain line, in between this my specification resides. It applies. That is meaning of my concern, my quality approach. It's not open, it is within this limit. Okay, I pay you for this. I agree as a consumer. I am paying you for this limit. But I should get this limit. That's where I stand. If I get that limit as a customer, I get that limit, I have no right to complain. If I don't get that limit, there's some lapse, there's some error, and because of that, that good doesn't work, doesn't perform, and I have every right to complain. Of course, if based on my complaint, if I'm getting satisfactory response, either that product is replaced or repaired immediately, then I'll be happy at least. Okay, at least you can say after sales services are reliable. Material may not be reliable, at least services are reliable. That could also patch my wounds, patch my injuries. But if even that doesn't happen, you may be doubly injured, doubly wounded. One wound is not filled up, other wound comes in. What do you call in that case? Well, I call it a crime. Maybe it's not under offensive crimes, but morally, marketing wise, it is a breaking bomb between, it's a breaking system between bridged customer and manufacturer relation. You may be top class manufacturer in world. It doesn't value to me if I'm not happy with you. If I'm not happy with your product, you may be whatever level of manufacturer, top level of manufacturer. You may be whatsoever. Because for me, you are a vendor. I pay you, and for you, I am a customer. You give me that product. There is no other relation at all. You did not do any obligation on me, and I did not do any obligation on you. I paid you, and you give me in exchange of that payment this product. That is on only relation. And I should get what you specify. I should get, that's my limit. I don't ask more than that. I'm not going to ask you if I am paying you for silver. I'm not expecting gold from you. That's also true. Give me silver, but performing silver. I accept that. That's what my intention is, to explain to you people what is quality, what is the limit of quality, and why this is not achieved. Achieved means claim to achieve but not achieved. Because I also understand everybody cannot find to read documents, time for that, or cannot understand that. They think, okay, let us use it. They don't even know sometimes what specification has been included in its manufacturing. 95% people are unaware of that. I can't say they do not know or they cannot know, but trust is more important than documents. Trust is more important than product performance. They think, okay, this is branded organization, we trust them. They shall certainly not produce defective products or substandard product. A high degree of trust is entered in our system, in our minds, that we should give them a chance, and we do that. And in fact, that relaxing attitude equips these manufacturers to abuse it, and they abuse it, because every product works for not just for 1 minute or 2 minutes, works for days and months and years. and we forget that. It's okay, let us try other manufacturer, we can say this time. And then next time say, okay, let us try another manufacturer. So we go on changing our manufacturers. But when you find uniformity in conduct by every manufacturer, certainly we come to a stage where I am talking. Many of you may agree with me or may not agree with me. I don't know reason for that, why not to agree with me. Because I'm not doing any political statement, I'm not making it. It's factual statement. Everybody, I spend money, you spend money. Money is money. You should get return of that in a true sense. But if that doesn't happen, really it is questionable attitude, questionable condition, questionable environment. It's really terrible sometimes, really terrible that we should not get something we have right to get. My purpose is not to defame someone or to discourage others. As a consumer I am talking, as a customer I am talking, and you all are customers somewhere. I also wrote something on Facebook about this, something on LinkedIn, something on SAFE, Structural Engineering Forum of India, about this system, about quality. Engineers, I find them sleeping. In fact, engineers who are backbone of every society, who are agents of change, I think they have become sleepers. Engineers of today have become sleepers rather than fighters, rather than challengers. Job of engineer is to accept challenges. Job of an engineer is to find difficulties and solve them and give quality. That is number one requirement by engineer. If engineer is not interested to deliver quality, in that case there is no one on earth who can deliver quality. Because it is engineer who produces, it is engineer who operates, it is engineer who defines specification and quality, it is engineer who tests materials, and it is engineer who designs material, and is engineer who supplies material. All these actions are carried out by engineers, and engineers are not born only for this. They are also born to see whether product works to requirement and it satisfies customers or it doesn't do that. But if engineers sleep in name of automation, in name of robotic work, or in whatever way, if engineers sleep, I think no one else can do anything. We have to understand this point. Engineers are analytical people. They are having analytical brain, research brain, solution brain, and if they sleep, I think that is really very unfortunate. I am finding, in general I am saying, community of engineers silent, non-speaking. They never raise their voice against system or against their own, because first objective of every engineer is to survive, to continue job, which is also a requirement in one's life, but that is not going to stop you from giving good product. But they have to accept commands maybe from their bosses, that you have to be diplomatic, and diplomatic means to lie, diplomatic means to promise never to do, diplomatic means be fooling all others. Direct meaning of diplomacy is to befool others. This is different kind of explanation, different kind of definition of something which applies in current scenario. So I don't believe in diplomacy. I don't believe in relation. I don't believe in something else, but I demand quality system. I demand not only quality system, I demand also quality product. If I get quality product and that company who gives me this, that organization who delivers to me this, based on whatever money they demand, and if I don't get that system, really I should be very angry. And if I get that system and I don't care how they work, but I get quality system that is given, that is specified, I will accept that. I don't care if somebody doesn't enter and record. I don't care how many SMS I get after placing my order. I care about quality of product. If I get quality of product, if they guarantee 2 years warranty and it works for 10 years, then that manufacturer is my approach. That manufacturer is my, you can say, favorite. Otherwise, you may be whatsoever. Your commitment, your obligations, if they are silent, they are dead, then I don't need you. That's my new definition. It's money we spend on every material. And if I lose my money, then what's function of buying that material? To be embarrassed, to be harassed. There was a time, when I say there was a time, I bought online my laptop. It worked well for a few years. After that, it started giving problems. Well, at least for a few years it worked. I was happy with that. I bought one desktop in 2008 from shop. It also worked well. Means gradually we got deterioration in quality system, gradually. And now it has come to below certain line, below certain datum line, which must be avoided, but we could not avoid that. Really, that's a very serious point. We have to consider everyone, engineer or non-engineer, doctor or non-doctor, who are directly involved with quality, must think of that no one is slave to manufacturer. Manufacturer makes money out of customers' expenditures. And every customer is also not energetic to speak against system. But I don't care for anyone. If system is bad, we have to change it. If system doesn't work, we have to recheck it. We have to find where are mistakes and correct those mistakes. And if you cannot do anything, then we should come out of that and reject that system, reject that product. I cannot spend my money trusting only. No, trust time has gone. I want justification. I want why product is not or doesn't match its specification. The specification is very important for me being an engineer, because we deal in our works specification, whether it is civil, electrical, mechanical or else. Specification is a basic requirement in engineering, in construction, in production, in operation, everywhere. It's a part of life. It's like you can say you breathe and also you do. Whatever you do, you breathe. It should be according to requirement. That's very essential and important part of our consideration. We have to understand this point. Now, because I have to go up for 10 minutes, as though there's no light now, but light or no light, If there's light, no light continues, then of course we shall come back. I shall come back and let I'll see whether to continue or not to continue. But for the time being, give 10 minutes. You can read this meanwhile, and you can read this meanwhile, and I'll be back. प्रॉब्लम है लाइट नहीं कुछ नहीं क्या करे. Okay, gentlemen, sorry for delay. Problem of rain and problem of light. I was talking about welding and cutting, WNC chapter 20 of you know this issue, safety issue, which I read yesterday, and I also discuss with you something about international requirement of welding and cutting, and scope well. It was explained yesterday. Now we talked about gas flames equipment, etc. And let me say again, we see responsibilities: project manager, site manager, safety officer, construction manager. We know all these responsibilities. We know responsibilities of contractors, and whatever you can say, whatever procedures, whatever actions we take on site or work should conform to certain requirement. But contractor and subcontractor managements are familiar with this procedure. We have to understand that, and that's very important point. We have to take care of this in every respect, ensuring that EPC contractor and subcontractor management are familiar with this procedure. Whatever welding and cutting operations carried out on projects are covered by this procedure, and personnel involved with WNC activities on projects are strictly following these procedures. Certified welders in relevance to job requirement are available with valid test pass certificates. If not available, welders shall be sent for qualifying welding, and that's important. Without getting qualification, personnel cannot be allowed in welding. This is a specification, this is a requirement, this is a statutory requirement. Subcontractor superintendent or contractor superintendent and supervision in charge of work shall be responsible for following. Supervision of all activities subcontractor shall be carrying out on WNC operations. That's another requirement you can say. Supervision of all activities subcontractor shall be carrying out on WNC operations, ensuring the work method statements and risk assessment have been carried out as required by nature and WC processes. A risk study shall be prepared for works in confined spaces prior to individual WC processes. That means you have to understand risk means it's that. Agreeing position of welding equipment in relation with other running equipments, activities, processes, ensure that certain work permits may be required. And what is competent person here? Competent person definition is, what is competent person for purpose of this procedure? For purpose of this procedure, whoever subcontractor organization involved in WC operations on site shall appoint a competent person approved by contractor to have overall control of WC operations. WC means welding and cutting operations. Competent person's duty shall specifically cover assessment and planning of welding and cutting activities with regard to selection of safety gear, equipment, instruction and supervision. Ensure that equipment selected has been adequately inspected and maintained. Arrange for its replacement in case of equipment breaks down. Ensure that effective procedure is implemented. Ensure that an effective procedure is implemented for reporting defects, taking into account remedial actions. Responsibility for organization and control of welding and cutting operations, stopping all unsafe operations and reporting all incidents. Unsafe operation must be stopped and these must be reported. Act according to requirement in case of fire breakout due to welding effects. Instructions. Accidents involving failure and damage of WC equipment or welding and cutting equipment are frequent on construction sites and usually of very severe nature when do occur. Cause factors are, for such accidents, operator's error means welder's error, inadequate inspections and maintenance of equipment means we don't care for equipment and just go on working, and failure to plan operation and not to adopt precautions. Poor connections and existence of obstruction on lines, right of way, overloading and misuse of equipment. Now what is equipment? It is a gas flame equipment. Gases commonly used are oxygen, acetylene, and propane. Oxygen enriched air can be very dangerous. If there is excessive oxygen in air, it can be very dangerous because in such atmosphere, flammable material can easily be ignited, burn fiercely. Flammable material is your gas, that is, you can say propane or whatever, can easily be oxygen, acetylene, and propane. These three gases, when talking of oxygen, acetylene, and propane, and there's excessive oxygen in air, and if these come contact with that means oxygen enriched air can be very dangerous because in such atmosphere, flammable material can easily be ignited, burn fiercely, and also difficult to ignite materials which can become highly combustible. Activities that can cause oxygen enrichment are excessive purging. Activities that can cause oxygen enrichment are excessive purging, leaks from equipment, hoses or connections, supplies being left on, flame cutting, which can discharge up to 30% unconsumed oxygen into atmosphere. Oxygen cylinder valves should always be opened slowly, cleaned with a dry cloth or paintbrush, which is free from grease and oil stains. Confined spaces where oxygen enrichment may occur, that is greater than 20.8%, should be regularly checked by a competent person using a suitable oxygen meter. Acetylene cylinders should always be stored upright because of their design assumption as such. Pressure in hose should not exceed 0.6 bars. Copper pipes may not be used as copper reacts with it and forms an explosive material, copper acetylides, or says pressure in hose should not exceed 0.6 bars. Copper pipes must not be used as copper reacts with it and forms an explosive material, copper acetylides. Copper acetylides, which is an explosive material. LPG or propane cylinders on release of propane, which is heavier than air, to atmosphere, and is released to atmosphere means heavier than, it's subtle of course, shall readily collect in ducts and drains because it is heavier than air. It cannot go up, it will come down. It says LPG or propane cylinders on release of propane, which is heavier than air, to atmosphere shall readily collect in ducts and drains, etc., posing a risk of explosion, fire, and asphyxiation. Asphyxiation. Fuel gas and oxygen supplies should be stored. Fuel gas and oxygen supplies should be stored separately, at least 6 meters apart in open. Fuel gas and oxygen supplies should be stored separately, at least 6 meters apart in open. If kept inside store, should be of fire resistant construction with ventilation provided at top and bottom. Lighting illumination to store should be either from outside store or structure should be made of flame-proof construction. All cylinders in use must be kept secured in either a cylinder trolley or lashed to a suitable support. All cylinders in use must be kept secured in either a cylinder trolley or lashed to a suitable support. Acetylene and propane cylinders must always be used in upright position because liquid may discharge through valve and damage equipment. Also, if a high pressure cylinder falls, and its valve breaks, it can behave like a rocket and jet travel jet considerable distance, causing serious injury and damage namely oxygen cylinders, operate at 172 bar. All cylinder valves must be closed when not in use. Cylinders should not be rolled along or on ground. If a trolley is not available and or other form of transport must be used, cylinders must be firmly secured before moving. Cylinders must never be moved with magnets or chain slings. Valve spindles or connections should never be lubricated with oil or grease. Valves, spindles, or connections should never be lubricated with oil or grease. Cylinders and cylinders and fittings must be kept far away from corrosive substances, oil and grease from overhead equipment. Electrical welding tools, welding sparks, and other heat sources. Cylinders and fittings must be kept far away from corrosive substances, oil and grease from overhead equipment. Electrical welding tools, and electrical welding tools, welding sparks, and other heat sources. Cylinders should never be used as structural means of support or as an electrical earth medium. Regulators, gauges, hoses, and torches. Regulators, gauges, hoses, and torches must be of correct type for gas being used and should be checked regularly to ensure gas tightness. A spark lighter should be used in preference to matches or smoldering gas, etc. Check hose, valve thread, and cylinder color code. That is oxygen black cylinder, acetylene maroon cylinder, and propane red cylinder. Oxygen cylinder black, right-handed, and blue hose. This for oxygen. For acetylene maroon cylinder, left-handed, red hose, and propane red cylinder, left-handed, orange hose. So blue oxygen, that is hose, red acetylene, and propane orange. Each hose should be securely attached to its connection by means of suitable hose clips or crimps. If hoses have to be connected together, approved couplers should be used. Damaged hoses should be replaced without delay. Leaks must not be searched for using a naked flame, but with a suitable solution of soap and water. Flashback arresters and hose check valves must be fitted to both oxygen and fuel gas regulators and manifolds. Arrester shall stop and extinguishing a flashback. Arrester shall stop and extinguish a flashback. Prevent reverse flow of gas. Stop and extinguish a flashback means arrester shall stop and extinguish a flashback. Prevent reverse flow of gas and shut off supply of gas following a flashback. Hose check valve must also be fitted in hose connectors. Hose check valve must also be fitted in hose connectors at torch to prevent back flow of gases. Hose check valve must also be fitted in hose connectors at torch to prevent backflow of gases. Electric arc equipment. Mobile engine driven generators. Mobile engine driven generators should be sighted so as no danger to health arises either from exhaust gases or from high noise levels. It should be located far away. It should be located far away from work area and extension leads. It should be located far away from work area and extension leads, provided to bring welding electrical supplies to work point. Generators should be located to ensure, as far as possible, that cables do not constitute a tripping hazard. Where running of cables along ground is unavoidable, they should be neatly arranged and properly protected against pedestrians or vehicle damage. Generators should be located to ensure, as far as possible, that cables do not constitute a tripping hazard. Where running of cables along ground is unavoidable, they should be neatly arranged and properly protected against pedestrian or vehicle damage. All mechanical guards should be in proper position, and safe means should be provided to start engine. Fuel drum or bulk supply tank must be located in a safely positioned storage area. Engine must be switched off while refueling is done. Fuel tank must be cleaned up and integrity of fuel connection checked. Welding transformers and rectifiers are connected to mains, often 415 volts from a 3-phase supply. All electrical equipment must be installed and maintained by a competent electrician. All electrical equipment must be installed and maintained by a competent electrician. All welding transformers must be connected to main supply. Welding transformers must be connected to main supply by heavy duty cables. An efficient isolating switch together with pass protective fuses or circuit breakers should be located in an accessible position. Fixed transformers should be permanently wired. En route, conduit or armored cables used instead. Cases of both portable and stationary sets must be given earth to provide protection to causing casing faults. Workpieces should wherever practicable be earthed by an independent earth lead. Workpieces should wherever practicable be earthed by an independent earth lead. Earth connection must be capable of carrying secondary current without damage. Cable similar to that of welding circuit shall be suitable. A properly constructed and installed electrode holder should be used. It should have insulated handle. Holder should be well balanced and easy to work with. Provision should be made for safely accommodating electrode holder when not in use. Industrial type plugs and sockets are to be available for this purpose. provision should be made for safely accommodating electrode holders. Provision should be made for safely accommodating electrode holder when not in use. Industrial type plugs and sockets are to be available. Electric arcs for welding do not normally exceed 100 volt AC or DC. However, there is still a risk of short circuits and electrical fires. Therefore, all electrical equipment, auxiliary cables and connections should be checked frequently. All electrical equipments, auxiliary cables and connections should be checked frequently. Transformers, rectifiers and associated electrical equipment should be protected from moisture and dust. Dirty connections in particular can overheat and start fires. Transformers, rectifiers and associated electrical equipment should be protected from moisture and dust. Dirty connections in particular can overheat and start fires. Protective clothing, headgear and screens to protect passerby from arc flash are essential. Correct eyes shield must always be worn to protect eyes from arc flash. These can handheld or helmet type shields. Welding and cutting hazards, heat and fire risk. Components often retain high heat levels, which should be chart marked hot if liable to be touched by non-related people. Fires can be started by sparks, hot slag, etc. At a distance from point of cutting or welding, remove flammable materials from vicinity of location below operations, or use non-asbestos foam fire resistance sheeting as appropriate. Numerous fatal accidents have occurred where welding or cutting were attempted on drums, tanks and vessels. Tanks and vessels which had not been fully drained out of their flammable contents. Inert gas purged out from such acts. Fumes and lack of oxygen. All welding and cutting operations produce airborne contaminants. All welding and cutting operations produce airborne contaminants. A complex of combination A complex of combinations of particles, gases can be involved, depending on type of welding apparatus being used. Metal being joined, separated, fluxes used, and where metal involved had been either painted or plated. Dangerous level of fumes, lack of oxygen or oxygen enrichment can occur particularly during welding in confined spaces. Infrared and ultraviolet rays. Infrared IR and ultraviolet UV rays. Electric arcs radiate both rays. electric arcs radiate both rays. Ultraviolet radiation, in particular, can be hazardous even when reflected. It can affect skin and eyes in same way as sun. Right kind of protective clothing is necessary. Approved goggles and protective clothing made from dense materials such as chrome, leather. Ultraviolet radiation also causes arc eye, a painful but temporary form of conjunctivitis. Conjunctivitis. Ultraviolet radiation also causes arc eye, a painful but temporary form of conjunctivitis. Ultraviolet radiation decomposes some chlorinated hydrocarbon decreasing solvents which may form toxic gas, phosgen even. Ultraviolet radiation decomposes some chlorinated hydrocarbon degreasing solvents. Degreasing solvents means some chlorinated hydrocarbon degreasing solvents which may form toxic gas, phosgen even, located at a distance from arc. It is therefore important to ensure that degreased items are thoroughly dried before welding, that such solvents are not used anywhere near welding operation. Grinding, chipping and deslag. Grinding, chipping and deslag. Preparation and repairing of welds. Preparation and repairing of welds usually involves grinding and chipping with some type of welds. Hot slag can fly off because of contraction as metal cools. Can say with some type of welds, hot slag can fly off because of contraction as metal cools. High eye protection should be used if it is necessary to inspect a weld before it becomes cold. Hearing protection may also be required during above operation. Site hazard. Working overhead. Working overhead. Sparks, hot slag and hot metal from cutting operations can cause burns and also sets light to flammable material in vicinity of overhead welding and cutting operations. Sparks, hot slag and hot metal from cutting operations can cause burns and also sets light to flammable material in vicinity of overhead welding and cutting operations. Appropriate fire extinguisher. Appropriate fire extinguisher must always be available at welding work point location. Working in confined spaces. Where possible, oxygen and fuel gas. Cylinders should not be taken into confined spaces. Cutting and welding equipment, including supply tubes, should be removed when not in use. Fitting operations associated with welding can be very noisy within confined spaces. Laying sandbags on components can reduce reverberating noise. Protective clothing. Purpose designed protective clothing must always be worn. When welding or cutting, no, when welding or cutting, when welding or cutting using oxygen, acetylene or propane, activities go on. Purpose designed protective clothing must always be worn when welding or cutting using oxygen, acetylene or propane, activities go on. Correct gas welders' goggles should always be worn. Correct weld gas goggles should always be worn to prevent injuries to eyes. Face masks and goggles must be fitted. Face masks and goggles must be fitted with filters to protect eyes from intense light and ultraviolet radiation. Where fumes cannot be readily dispersed, should airstream helmet and face masks using an independent airline supply of fresh air be provided. Where fumes cannot be readily dispersed, should airstream helmets and face masks using an independent airline supply or air supply of fresh air be provided. Leather aprons, jackets and gauntlets, leather apron, jackets and gauntlets should be worn to protect against spark and molten metal burns. Welding overalls should be made of flame retardant materials and be designed to avoid spark traps. Correct footwear should include spats to prevent hot particles from falling into boots or shoes. So this was talked. It was talked about welding and cutting. Now we talked about welding and cutting, and we can start. We have gone through details of this activity, welding. We have gone in depth. We got something very interesting. Now we shall like to enter into different topic, and that is working at height and fall prevention. Working at height and fall prevention. Meaning is very clear. Everybody knows working at height and fall prevention. This procedure applies to all personnel employed on project who shall work at heights. It shall apply to all locations, where work is carried out at elevations in excess of 2 meters above grade level. It's very interesting, but everything is interesting actually. Let's search for more. That's more important. Health safety, health and safety, health and safety authority. This is working at height. There are briefing. These are briefing notes on work at height regulations and some of things. Some you should be doing about them. What is work at height? Work at height is work in whatever place, including a place at, above, or below ground level, where a person could be injured if they fell from that place. Access and egress to a place of work can also be work at height. Access and egress to a place of work can also be work at height. Means you may be at ground level, you may be below ground level, or you may be above ground level, where it's more than 2 meters. In fact, it's called work at height. Work at height is work in whatever place, including a place at, above ground, below ground level, where a person could be injured if they fell from that place. Access into and egress from to a place of work can also be work called work at height. Examples of work activities that are classified as work at height. Working on trestles. Working on trestles. Working on flat roof. Erecting false work or form work. Working on a ladder. Working at ground level adjacent to an excavation. Working on form work within an excavation. Working near or adjacent to fragile materials. Trestles, let us see. Our key message, let us see what it says. Other key messages: carry out risk assessments for work at height activities and make sure that all work is planned, organized and carried out by a competent person. Follow general principles of prevention for managing risks from work at height. Take steps to avoid, prevent or reduce risks. Choose right work equipment and select collective measures to prevent falls, such as guardrails and work platforms, before other measures which may only reduce distance and consequences of a fall, such as nets or airbags, or may only provide fall arrest through personal protection equipment. Requirements for employees. Work at height regulations require employers to ensure that all work at height is properly planned and organized. Risk assessment is carried out for all work conducted at height. Appropriate work equipment is selected and used. People working at a height are competent. Equipment used for work at height is properly inspected and maintained. Risks from fragile surfaces are properly controlled. Risk assessment should include a careful examination of what harm could be caused from working at height with a view to taking effective steps to reduce likelihood of this harm occurring either through avoiding activity or where this is not reasonably practicable by carrying it out in a safe manner using work equipment that is appropriate to task and level of risk. There could be exceptions. Examples of where these regulations do not apply would include walking up and down a staircase in an office, working in an office on upper floors of a temporary accommodation building, sitting in a chair, work carried out by private individuals on their own homes where this is not for purpose of business or trade. Then if we go to other one, let us see, let's close this other one. I think I should close welding and cutting, and I should let me keep it as it is or see other one, which one I can take care of now because I've read all this. Let's take now this was accident and dangerous occurrence reporting. Let us see. It's not very impressive. Let us see something else. Biological agents, pulling at work business. No, it's not that. It's not even there. Let's find something else. I'm finding some page. Please just hold on. Let us see this. Working at height remains one of biggest causes of fatalities. Working at height remains one of biggest causes of fatalities and major injuries. Common cases include falls from ladders and through fragile surfaces. Work at height means work in whatever place where if there were no precautions in place, a person could fall a distance liable to cause personal injury. For example, a fall through a fragile roof. This section shows how employers can take simple, practical measures to reduce risk of whosoever the worker falling while working at height. It's a case study. Now what do I have to do? What do I have to do? You must make sure work is properly planned, supervised and carried out by certain competent person with that required skills, knowledge and experience to do job. Must use right type of equipment for working at height. Take a sensible approach when considering precautions. Low risk Relatively straightforward tasks shall require less effort when it comes to planning, and there may be some low risk situations where common sense tells you no particular precautions are necessary. Control measures. First, assess risks. Factors to weigh up include height of task, duration and frequency, and condition of surface being worked on. Before working at height, work through these simple steps. Avoid work at height where it is reasonably practicable to do so. Means don't work at height if you can work otherwise. This means avoid work at height where it is reasonably practicable to do so. Where work at height cannot be avoided, where work at height cannot be avoided easily, prevent falls. Prevent falls using either an existing place of work that is already safe or right type of equipment. Minimize distance and consequences of fall. Minimize distances and consequences of fall. Minimize distance and consequences of fall by using right type of equipment where risk cannot be eliminated. For each step, always consider measures that protect everyone at risk. Collective protection. Before measures that only protect individual. Personal protection. Collective protection is equipment that doesn't require person. Collective protection is equipment that doesn't require person working at height to act for it to be effective. Examples are permanent and temporary guardrails, scissor lifts, and tower scaffolds. Personal protection is equipment that requires individual to act for to be effective. Example is putting on a safety harness correctly and connecting it with energy absorbing lanyard to a suitable anchor points. So one is where personal involvement doesn't exist, that is permanent or temporary guardrails, scissor lift and tower scaffolds, and where personal protection is required, that is safety harness, do's and don'ts of working at height. As much work as possible from ground. Do as much work as possible from ground. Ensure workers can get safely to and from where they work at height. Ensure workers can get safely to and from where they work at height. Ensure equipment is suitable, stable, and strong enough for job. Maintained and checked regularly. Take precautions when working on or near fragile surfaces. Provide protection from falling objects. Consider emergency evacuation and rescue procedures. Don't overload ladders. Don't overload ladders. Consider equipment or materials workers are carrying before working at height. Check pictogram or label on ladder for information. Overreach on ladder or step ladders, do not do this. Overreach on ladders. Don't overreach on ladders or step ladders. Rest a ladder. Don't rest a ladder against weak upper surfaces, namely glazing or plastic gutters. Don't use ladders or step ladders for strenuous or heavy tasks. Only use them for light work of short duration, maximum of 30 minutes at a time. Don't let anyone who is not competent, who doesn't have skills, knowledge and experience to do job, work at height. Find out more, okay? Law. Leave it. This is not our job, so I just try to save it for future. So I use this file for this purpose. And this is also the height. This is 2, I can say. This is 2 and that's it. So I'm going to, let me go to some other one and see what can I get from this. That's also important one. Let me close this as well, it's on it now. Let's go to other one and see if I can find something else here. Let's go, because this is a search and it's very important from safeopedia.com. What is working at height, hazards and control measures, OSHA. Let us see what is this. Let us try this. It's also excellent. Let us try this and see how it works. It's a big one. Working at heights, hazards and control measures, and this is working at height, hazards and control measures, and this is OSHA working at height standard, working at height procedure and requirement, working at height fall protection and prevention system. Let me just blow it more up. Working at height fall protection and prevention system, hazards and risk control during working at height, fall protection equipment, maintenance and inspection of fall. Also many asked here. So working at height, what is working at height? Is defined. What is working at height? It's more important to understand. Working at height poses high risk and most of fatalities recorded worldwide due to failure of fall protection measures. 2020, its 9th consecutive year, fall protection declared as most cited OSHA violation. Agency announced in National Safety Council 2020 Congress Expo. National Security Council and Occupational Health and Safety Administration have stated that top 10 are as often as possible related to violation of well-being of work environment during 2020 monetary year, where most of accidents happen due to non-compliance of fall protection system, unsafe scaffolding, unsafe use of ladder, and lack of training on fall protection. Certain photographs are not seen. These are all photographs. I can't help it. No problem. Let's go see. Below list published by OSHA for year 2020. Fall protection, hazard communication, scaffolding, lockout, tag out, respiratory protection, ladders, industrial trucks, fall protection training requirements, guarding of machine, personal protective and rescue, life-saving equipment, eye and face protection. Above these identified violations, alerting employees to find a way to detect and resolve pursued risk control. So these were list where OSHA claimed that these were violated. Means violation of fall protection measures, violation of hazard communication, violation of scaffolding arrangements, violation of lockout tagout, violation of respiratory protection, violation of ladders use, violation of industrial trucks use, violation of fall protection training requirements, violation of guarding of machines, and violation of personal protective and rescue life-saving equipment, eye and face protection. Now OSHA, working at height standards. Workers shall be authorized to work on these surfaces just when surfaces have essential quality, structural integrity and adequate strength. A working surface of 1.8 meters or more above a lower level must be protected against falls by using railing, safety net or individual fall arrestor aid. Worker who erects a workers who erect a leading edge of 1.8 meters or progressively above lower levels protected against falls by using railing, safety net or individual fall arrestor protection aid. If a handrail is chosen to protect against falls and a control access area has just been defined for work at edge, command line can be used instead of handrail along edge parallel to main edge. Each worker in a crane man basket hoist cradle must be protected from a fall of 1.8 meter or more at lower level by railing or full body harness. Each worker on a work surface must be protected against tripping or walking through openings in or through openings. Working at height procedure requirement. Let us see what more is there, just for your information. How much can we go in this? This is plenty, I think. We can spend time on this. So I think it's good one, not bad one. Yes, good one. So we were here. Now working at heights procedure requirements, so we can save it as a matter of 3. Working at height procedure requirement, where it says we can rely upon that and see how it works. That's important. It should work correctly, it should work right. Working at height possesses high risk and high risks and working at height. So I should close this. In fact, it's not required now. I should close this. So let's move this and work on this. Working at height procedure requirement. It's better to perform it's better to perform all activities on ground where possible. However, fall prevention and protection must be implemented whenever working above ground, especially at height more than 1.8 meter above reference level is inevitable. Working at height, fall protection. You can see that working at height, fall protection. Full body harness, you can say. You can see that full body harness. You can see here. So fall protection measures including edge protection, guardrail system, fence, barricade or cover must be utilized as primary fall protection systems. That is edge protection, guardrail system, fence, barricade or cover must be utilized as primary fall protection system for holes, pits, shafts and other openings. In addition, fall protection system is required when working at levels with an unprotected side or edge. Appropriate PPE required for each work shall be determined based on level of exposure and shall be listed in permit to work. Working at height, fall prevention system. Workers with health problems like heart disease, high blood pressure, psychosis, epileptic or whatever of such disease should be considered unfit for working at height. Means heart disease, high blood pressure, psychosis, epileptic or whatever else of such disease should be considered unfit for working at height. Weather conditions should be assessed before commencement of whatever height related activities. This assessment must be included as part of safe job analysis. Permit shall not be issued for work at heights during adverse weather, and if permit was already issued, it must cancel. Identification of fall hazards and risk control in workplace during working at height. Identification of fall hazards and risk control. In addition to planned height related activities, regular reviews and inspections of site should be carried out to identify potential sources of fall hazards. All these sources must be recorded and followed up until adequate controls are provided to eliminate hazards. When a high risk fall hazard is identified during routine inspection, corrective and preventive measures must be established immediately before work in area can be allowed to continue. Work at height, fall protection equipment. Fall protection and protection systems must be installed when must be installed when working at height. This may include a combination of followings: guardrail system, guardrail system, warning line system, safety full body harness, anchorage, connectors, lifeline. Guardrail system, warning line system, safety full body harness, anchorage, connectors, lifeline. Self retracting lifeline, lanyard you can say. Self retracting lifeline, shock absorber, that is shock absorbing lanyard, snap hook. Maintenance and inspection of fall protection equipment. All personal fall protection equipment must be stored in a dedicated area where their integrity can be ensured. Inspection of this equipment should follow a formal monthly schedule in addition to pre-use visual inspection by user for wear, damage or other signs of deterioration. Defective equipment must be removed from service immediately if either of following signs are observed during inspections: cuts and tears, undue stretching, alterations or additions, deterioration from acid, fire or other sources, distorted hooks or parts, faulty hook springs. All personal fall safety equipment subject to maintenance according to regulations and manufacturer's instructions. Working at height guardrail systems. Working at height guardrail systems. Permanent guardrails are often constructed as part of stairways, landings, work platforms, and equipment access platforms where short-term fall hazards exist. Temporary guardrails are used. Guardrails must meet certain requirements, so be compliant with regulatory standards, and it must consist of a top rail, mid rail, and toe board. Top rail needs be between 900 and 1000 mm above working surface or ground. Top rail needs to be between 900 and 1000 mm above working surface or ground, and capable of withstanding 100 kg of force downward or outward. Similarly, a guardrail's mid-rail must be capable of withstanding 70 kg of force downward or outward. Toe board must cover and protect a height of 10 cm above working surface and be capable of withstanding 22.5 kg of force downwards or outward. There must not be more than a 5 mm gap between bottom of toe board and working surface. When tools, equipment, or materials such as bricks are piled higher than top edge of toe board, when tools, equipment, or materials such as bricks are piled higher than top edge of toe board, paneling, screening, or safety nets must be used from working surface or toe board to top of mid to top rail. Working at height temporary warning. Consisting of ropes, wires, chains, and supporting props. Temporary warning lines are designed for short-term hazards. They must be flagged at least every 1.8 meter with high visibility material, and signage must be posted indicating controlled access during construction. Warning lines are required to be no lower than 850 mm or not higher than 900 mm from walking surface. Working at height temporary warning. Now, working at height toolbox stock and warning monitor. Before start of work at height, toolbox talk must be conducted to make aware all involved persons about identified hazards, risk and control measures. Warning monitors are competent personnel assigned to keep others away from a fall hazard, and they should only be utilized when all other means of fall protection are not possible. Warning monitors must not have any other duties in addition to keeping people away from fall hazards. Click here, OK. Working at height, fall resistance system. Working at height, fall resistance system. Fall restraint system inhibits a person to prevent them from falling. Fall restraint systems comprise anchorages, connectors, body belts, harnesses, lanyards, lifelines, and rope grabs. Fall restraint system inhibits a person to prevent him from falling. Fall restraint systems comprise anchorages, connectors, body belts, harnesses, lanyards, lifelines, and rope grabs. Anchorage points must be capable of withstanding 4 times expected load and must be rigid to prevent vertical free fall if person slips. Working at height fall arrest system. Fall arrest system minimizes injury to person from a free fall. Fall arrestor equipment must be used correctly to prevent injury. Fall arrest equipment incorporates body support devices, that is harnesses, lanyards and anchorages. Working at height body support devices. This is working at height body support devices. Body support devices are designed to place arresting force of a fall on strongest parts of the body. Body support devices are designed to place arresting force Body support devices are designed to place arresting force of a fall on strongest parts of body. Types of body support devices are waist belts, chest harnesses and subpelvic full body harnesses. Waist belts are designed to be used as restraint only. They have an average of 2 minutes of endurance. Chest harness. Now, they have an average of 2 minutes of endurance. Chest harnesses are designed for rescue and restraint and an average of 6 minutes of endurance. Subpelvic full body harness average 10 minutes of endurance and of 3 hours of optimal test for fall arrest. Even after an individual is caught from a fall by a fall arrest system, is not out of danger. Even after an individual is caught from a fall by a fall arrest system, is not out of danger. Within 15 to 20 minutes, suspension from a harness causes blood to pool in legs. So you can say within 15 to 20 minutes suspension from harness causes blood to pool in legs, eventually making suspended individual pass out. Well, you can say non-circulating blood in legs then loses oxygen. Non-circulating blood in legs then loses oxygen and becomes toxic. A dangerous condition known as suspension trauma, also known as harness hang syndromes. So, non-circulating blood in legs then loses oxygen and becomes toxic, a dangerous condition known as suspension trauma, also known as harness hang syndrome. HS. Then we can say let us read it again. Even after an individual caught from fall by faller system, they cannot is out of danger, cannot out of danger. Within 15 to 20 minutes, suspension from a harness causes blood to pool in legs, eventually making suspended individual pass out. Non-circulating blood in legs then loses oxygen and becomes toxic, a dangerous condition known as eventually making suspended individual pass out. Non-circulating blood in legs then loses oxygen and becomes toxic, a dangerous condition known as suspension trauma, also known as harness hang syndrome or orthostatic intolerance. To prevent suspension trauma, best practice is to utilize a body harness with suspension trauma straps that individual can use to hook their face, their feet into and push their body upward, allowing their blood to continue circulating. Working at height lanyards. Lanyards hook, lanyard hook is supports body and are intended to stretch when loaded. Stretch slows down impact speed and arresting force which when person wearer falls. A typical lanyard harness is rated for total capacity of 140 kg/pounds. Proper length lanyard must be chosen for a job. Proper length lanyard must be chosen for job. If it is too long, then it cannot prevent falling person from hitting surfaces or objects below them. As for lanyard snap hook device, only self enclosing as far as lanyard snap hook device, only self enclosing and self locking types should be used, and two lanyard snap hooks should never be connected together. Working at height encourage. Working at height encourages fall arrest equipment, fall arrest equipment is connected to an anchorage point which supports which supports that equipment and individual in event of a fall. In certain countries, it's required that whatever anchorage point used for attachment of personal fall arrest, now working at height anchorages, let's repeat. Fall arrest equipment is connected to an anchorage point which supports equipment and individual in event of fall. In certain countries, it is required that any anchorage point or whatever anchorage point used for attachment of personal fall arrest equipment must be independent of whatever anchorage being used to support or suspend platforms. Different anchorages consist of cross-arm straps. Different anchorages consist of cross-arm straps for covering around structural members. Driven anchorage points fasten temporarily or permanently to be fixed structure. Concrete anchors are generally drilled into concrete floors or walls, and bar anchors that bridge an opening. Different anchorages consist of cross-arm straps for covering around structural members. Driven anchorage points fasten temporarily or permanently to fixed structure. Concrete anchors are generally drilled into concrete floors or walls, and bar anchors that bridge opening. Working at height, scaffolding safety. Working at height, scaffolding safety. All types of scaffolding must be installed by competent and certified personnel. All types of scaffolding must be installed by competent certified personnel. Under erection, all scaffolding under erection or waiting approval must carry boldly written signs indicating that they are not fit for use. All types of scaffolding must be installed with competent certified personnel. All scaffolding under erection or waiting approval must carry boldly written signs indicating that they are not fit for use. A harness must be worn when working at heights where there is a danger of falling. Before starting construction of scaffolding, following should have been evaluated and ensure that user and scaffolder should agree on dimensions of scaffolding, area and load dimensions. Must notify to site safety specialist and must approve activity after review of risk assessment carried out by job executor. Review of potential conflict with other vendors. So must notify to site safety specialist and must approve activity after review of risk assessment carried out jointly by job executor. Review of potential conflict with other equipment has been carried out for electrical equipments, escape routes, access to safety equipment. Scaffold must be completed in such a manner that falls to lower levels are prevented. This could be done by implementing one or more of followings: mounting handrails and kickboards, securing tools and other items, attaching a safety net if necessary, considering erecting barriers and signs. Now, mounting handrails and kickboards, securing tools and other items, attaching a safety net if necessary, considering erecting barriers and signs, using certified scaffolding only. Scaffolding training, competency and supervision for work at height. Scaffolding may only be erected, maintained, altered or dismantled under strict personal supervision of competent scaffolding supervisor or scaffolding inspector who has been appointed in writing. Scaffolding may only be erected, maintained, altered or dismantled by competent and appointed scaffolding erectors or scaffolding builders. Scaffolding training competition supervision for working at height. Scaffolding may only be created, maintained, altered, or dismantled under strict personal supervision of a competent scaffolder supervisor or scaffolding inspector who has been appointed in writing. Scaffolding may only be erected, maintained, altered, or dismantled by competent and appointed scaffolding erector or scaffolding builders. It's scaffolding supervisor's responsibility to ensure that all persons carrying out such work are suitably trained and experienced. A certificate of competency must be issued by a reputable, that is accredited and approved training provider. A certificate of competency issued by reputable, that is accredited or approved training provider must be produced for each scaffolding erector. A scaffolding supervisor and inspector shall be trained and approved by CITB UK. So, scaffolding may only be erected, maintained, altered, or dismantled by competent and appointed scaffolding erector. It's scaffolding supervisor's responsibility to ensure that all persons carrying out such work are suitably trained and experienced. A certificate of competency issued by reputable, that's accredited and approved training operator must be produced for each scaffolding. Safety measures during erection and dismantling scaffolding. Well, I think there's much more left in this. We'll take safety measures during erection and dismantling of scaffolding. Then we'll take precautions during special conditions for leaving unattended use unsafe scaffold, mobile scaffolding system, safety, and then safe scaffolding platforms. We'll take up this issue in next one. Meanwhile, you can say we see so we have to now take some time. We have reviewed it as well. Indirectly, read is also a must. Now it's time to take today's chapter closed for next time. Usually I take nowadays 3 hours due to certain reasons. I could take 4 hours also, but some problem with my body, my physique, my health. So I'm not extending that, or else I think 4 hours not bad, 5 hours not bad. I like 4 or 5 hours, but I want to take some break in between. That's also a must for this. Very much. I'm going to close it now.